Welcome back to the Steven Weir Podcast Show. I'm your host, Steven Weir. On this podcast, it's where dreamers learn how to think bigger, grow stronger, and lead with purpose. I'm your host, a former professional footballer and now a FIFA licensed agent and mentor. Today, we are going to dive into a topic that goes way beyond tactic or contract. The cultural difference in sport and how they can shape your career and your life. Let me ask you this. Have you ever thought about how much cultural shape the way we play, the way we train, even the way we celebrate? Imagine stepping into a new country, a new club, a new locker room, and suddenly the values, the humor, the tradition all are different. They all are very different. Many athletes, this is the turning point that makes or breaks their career. So today, I want to break down what I have seen, what I have learned, and how cultural awareness can be your greatest advantage in sport and in life. Every country has its own football DNA. So we say in Brazil, the game is about flair, creativity, playing with joy. In Germany, it's more about discipline, structure, efficiency. And in Africa, it is about passion, the rhythm, the resilience. And in England, our fan tradition, and these cultural styles go far beyond the pitch. They influence how players train, how coaches communicate, and how fans expect you to perform. As an athlete or agent, understanding this difference isn't optional. It is survival. If you don't adapt, you will struggle to connect and your talent won't be enough. Let me share a story. When I first arrived in Saudi Arabia in 1993 as an 18-year-old boy, the 18-year-old kid, okay, enter into the locker room. You see all these guys coming out, cars, some of them get a limousine, Ferrari, Porsche, and these guys leave their cars running and the music is playing, okay? The field is burning. And most of the time we will train like close to 6 p.m. or 5 because that's when they get their last prayer for the evening. And then after that, before we go into training section, you enter changing room, it's all Arabic. Once in a while, a couple of guys speak English. The coach was a French, Tunisian, so he speaks French and English and Arabic. So normally you will get translator, but for me, I could speak French, I could understand it. I had to adapt. First thing first, I have to learn how to pray in Arabic. So as the club has someone come into the house to teach me how to pray in Arabic. So it's something like the Lord's Prayer English. And then how to wash my body and then how to pray, how many times I need to go down before I get on my knees. That's the first step I had to learn. So I had to adapt myself. The cultural difference, even in Australia, sometimes, don't you think someone have called me monkey before? But I don't pay attention. And this is why sometimes I see people go overboard with racism. Not that I like the idea. I'm also against that. But sometimes our EI has to be very good. Our emotional intelligence has to be good. This is where I sometimes look at myself. I travel to Senegal, Cameroon, Nigeria, Saudi Arabia, Singapore, Germany, Indonesia, and then Australia. But I've never gotten into any argument in all these years, my 16 years of playing professional football, because my EI was so high. You call me names, I will just smile because look, I can't control your behavior, okay? I can only control my response. So if you call me names, you call me monkey or whatsoever, look, I have that emotional intelligence to just look at it from a different perspective. If you argue with someone who, I would say, idiot, you're no different from them. You just have to control yourself. These are some of the things. The cultural difference as a professional, especially these young players that are coming up. Sometimes when you approach them, the first thing they tell you, I want to go to Europe to follow my career. You still got more to learn. Apart from your tactics or your skills or your talent, you have to adapt to cultural difference. It's very important in football. It goes way beyond contract. It goes way beyond 30. Like when I went to Singapore, most people, when you ask them about Singapore, oh, it's a beautiful country. Those are tourists. But I actually lived there. It's a beautiful country. The culture, the people are very respectful. It's a very clean. So you have to adapt to that system. You can't go throwing paper bags on the street, or you can't take a chewy and just chuck it away. That's the culture. You have to adapt everything as a professional player, especially for the young players, because you can get lost so easily. It can break your career because the food, you got to get used to that. When I went to Senegal, I had to get used to eating like the Senegalese. I have to get used to the meal. When I went to Saudi Arabia, it was more about bread and meat. You have to adapt to this culture. And the language barrier, you have to also learn how to put yourself in a position where you can communicate and always have a smile, regardless of what they're saying about you that you don't understand. Maybe sometimes you would think the face expression would try to explain to you, maybe they're saying something bad about you or something nice. But you have to realize it is very important, because I have seen young talent who just go to Europe, or some of them just want to travel for the sake of traveling to sign a contract and get maybe a couple of dollars or pounds and stuff. That's not the point. The point here is that you have to adapt. And with that, once you adapt to the culture, then you start to bring out that flair in you. You try to put yourself in a position where people are going to really admire you, your discipline. So like for Indonesia, in Indonesia, the people live a very simple life. And when you go there, what they don't like is that you try to prove to them that you're better than them, then they don't like you. So you go there, you mingle with them, you eat their food, you sit on the street, you eat something like maybe soup, nasi goreng. You try to adapt yourself. You put yourself in a position where you look like them. They will really welcome you. So these are some of the things when we talk about cultural difference, it's very important. Because once you walk into this locker room, you realize quickly that the sense of humor, the music, even how players bond, it was very different as compared to back home when I was there. Some places are very loud and vibrant. Others are quiet and business-like. If you misread the environment, you can come across as arrogant or shy. That's why cultural intelligence is as important as football intelligence. Here the key: respect first, learn second, contribute third, listen before you speak, watch before you act. Once you show respect for the culture, people open up to you, and then you can bring your own flavor to them. So once you respect that culture, the way they behave and everything, you see how these people will welcome you into their lives. Some of them will invite you to their homes. Like in Saudi Arabia, the president used to invite us. We go to his house, have dinner after training. We go to the city. I remember on 2 occasions, we had a time off the game. We flew to Dubai. We went there, we had fun and stuff. So you see, once you adapt to the culture, everything becomes easier. You won't start to feel like you need your parents or your friends from back home. You miss them and all these things, because these are the things that break players. Once you start to miss home, you start to miss your friends, and you feel within yourself that you can adapt. You can, if you want to, if you choose to. Humans are the only creature who can change. Like one of my great philosophers, Jim Rohn, always say, if you don't like your address, change it. If you don't like the way your bank account looks, change it. If you don't like where you live, change it. You're not a tree. You can change. You just need to decide. So once you adapt to the culture, you will find your game coming up. So lessons and manager also need cultural awareness. At the moment, I'm learning Russian. I'm learning German. I speak French. I speak English. I speak Indonesian. So all of these things put together is to help me when I get to another country. Maybe I get a partner there. I want to establish myself, to make deals. I have to adapt myself to the culture. So these things are very important. They're very important. You need to adapt. The culture in South America must shout instruction with fire. But in Scandinavia, expect calm explanation. A handshake in Europe may still frost. in other regions, relationships are built slowly over meals, conversations, and family connection. If you know this, you lose deals, you lose trust, and you lose opportunity. So it is very important cultural awareness in football. It's the same as life. It goes way beyond tactics and your talent. Once you can adapt to this, don't feel that you're too good. You always try to be humble, respect people, treat them accordingly as you want them to treat you as well. All these things are very important. Beyond the pitch, life lesson. The beautiful part about cultural difference is that they grow you as a person. You learn patience, empathy, adaptability. Empathy is very important. Empathy, when someone explains something to you, you look at that problem from your own view and you try to understand what they're trying to explain to you. You have empathy in the situation. So these things are very important. Adaptability. You have to adapt. The weather will change. You can't control that. The style of football is very fast or very slow. They is very aggressive. These are things you have to keep in mind. You have to build that up. You have to adapt. And these are not just sports skills. They are life skills. That's what's important. They are life skills because remember I said the boot going to come off one day, you will retire. And you can visit these countries. You can meet up with old friends. You can have a good conversation and a good laugh where you people mess up a game and the coach went very crazy in the changing room. These are all the things. That's why it's very good. They are not just sport skills. They are life skills. They make you a better leader, a better parent, a better human being. At the end of the day, football is a global language, but every culture adds its own accent. If you can learn to listen and speak those accents, you will not only succeed in sport, you will succeed in life. So I went to Senegal or Cameroon. I had to learn how to speak French. I have to learn to eat the food. I had to make friends. I play with some players who play World Cup. Maybe 6, 7, 8 of them I play with in Cameroon or in Indonesia. These are my good friends. We sometimes talk on social media once in a while, not all the time, but once in a while we talk on social media. We have some good conversation and talk about the old days. That's life. That's what you have to do. You have to understand. You have to learn how to listen and speak those accent. Those accent going to help you. You will not only succeed in sports. Trust me, it go way beyond that. So here's my challenge to you, okay? Here's my challenge to you. The next time you step into a new environment, don't just look for the ball. Look for the culture. Build that relationship. Build the friendship with the players. Build the friendship with the club officials. Modern day football, I see players pushing the mold because they get all the bad advices behind them. Some of them, like their agents, are only there for the money. Imagine when you sign a 5-year contract with, let's say, Manchester United. In that contract, there was nothing written about push your move. If we want you to go because you still get 2 years on your contract, you stop training and to push the move. There is nothing in the contract that said that. But because some of these players, they get bad management behind them, and these people, they try to push them. And I have seen lots of career gone like in a drain because player wants to push a move. Just a common recent example, that's it. They forget about being humble. No, your attitude is bad. You disrespect the people who actually open that door for you. Now you become a player and you go into Chelsea. You have to understand, it's not only because you played for the club, but look at the fans who loved you, who respected you, who supported you all your time. So players have to understand these days that cultural awareness is very good. You know, that awareness could be the difference between fitting in and standing out. So here's my challenge. The next time you step into a new environment, don't just look for the ball, look for the culture. Pay attention to how people interact, how they celebrate, how they show respect. That awareness could be the difference between fitting in and standing out. So my advice is that, remember, you have to show that empathy. Understand that you're a player. Your career will finish tomorrow. But then your legacy, the people will celebrate you. They will celebrate you and they will love you forever. Thank you for listening to the Still Real Podcast Show. If this episode resonated with you, share it with a teammate, a coach, or a young player who's dreaming big. Remember, talent may open the door, but wisdom keeps you in the room. I'm Steven Weir. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep setting the standard. Bye for now.